There's nothing worse than putting your hard-earned money into a business and then watching it not work. So in this video, I want to give you some strategies and go over a listing so you can see for yourself why some listings on Amazon don't work and what you can do about it. Now, if you like this kind of content where I'm helping you build your business on Amazon here in Australia, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Also, consider subscribing to my channel because we do new videos like this every single day, all about helping you make muchos cashola on Amazon. All right, let's get into it. Mel asked me why her product is not selling very well. Like, why is my product not selling very well? And that is a big concern that people have. I'll do all the right things and then put my product onto Amazon and I won't make many sales. Well, why the hell does that happen? So I thought it'd be kind of cool to take you through this listing and for you to have a look at this listing and then for me to give you some insights into ways and possibly why it's not actually selling. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. All right, so let's start with the listing itself. Can we all agree that actually Mel has done a really quite lovely job of the listing? Like, there's nothing that is obviously stands out glaringly as like, oh my God, that's so obvious why it's not selling. Yeah, do you agree? Like, there's nothing really that's glaringly standing out to me anyway, where I go, oh yeah, that's it. That's why it's not selling. It's because of the hero image or whatever it may be, okay? There's nothing really glaring for me on that. So that's the first thing I'm going to check. I'm going to check, well, what's the hero image like? Does the hero image look like a professional thing? Does it look like a good job? Then I'm going to check the title. I don't know what the search term is that Mel is going after. I'm going to ask you in a second. So hold that thought. I'm going to come to you and ask that question in a second. I don't know if the price is appropriate for that particular niche. I've got no idea at all, okay? I don't know if comparatively having 9 ratings is enough in this particular marketplace, which is Amazon in the US of A. I don't know, okay? But I'm going to make the assumption that it's at least on the way there to being good, and overall the listing is okay. So that's the first things I look at when I look at a business that's not working. I'm looking at the images, most important. As far as the listing goes, I'm looking at the text, I'm looking at the price, and I'm looking at the number of ratings. They're the big 4 that have the lion's share of the effect on whether or not a business is going to sell on Amazon, okay? So let's assume that they're all okay. And again, we can go check, but let's assume that they're all okay. So then there's 2 other things to check. Given that the listing is good, then the problem is either getting enough eyeballs onto this listing. So there's 2 ways that can happen. The first one is through Amazon related traffic. So that's Amazon PPC and Amazon SEO. And the second way is through outside traffic. That's things like Google AdWords, Facebook, YouTube, things like that. And again, I don't know if she's running any of that traffic. Okay, I've got no idea. So that's the second thing I would go check. The third thing I look at, and arguably the most important thing, is the conversion ratio of the page. So on Amazon, you have something called a unit session percentage, and all that means is for every 100 qualified people that arrive on this listing, how many of those people turn into a buyer of the product. Okay, that's all that means. Unit session percentage. We can think of it as the conversion ratio of looky-loos to customers. So people who are just having a bit of a look-see or actually on the website looking at it versus the number of people who become customers. That ought to be somewhere between 10 and 20%. 12 to 15 is a good average. And if it's not, then there's a problem. But looking at this website, I would say, given that she's getting traffic to it, that would be 10 to 20% would be about right for it. So now we come to you guys. What do you reckon is the main keyword that Mel is targeting? What do you reckon the main keyword that Mel is targeting here is? Natural cleaning.
Eco-friendly.
Eco-friendly. So
Yeah.
natural cleaning dish brushes like that.
I've just done a bit of a quick look in Merchant Words, Neil, and that term is showing less than 100. But if you change it to something like natural dish brushes, it's got 900 searches, and eco-friendly dish brush has 600.
Okay, so that's none of those is particularly high as far as like a search volume goes, don't you reckon? None of that is particularly high as far as search volume goes. Really, you want to be 5 to 10,000, depending on the niche, before you'd kind of be thinking to yourself, well, that's going to give you sufficient income to do something for you. And you are 100% right. Look at this, less than 100. So if that is the main search term, and Hayden and I agree with you, mate, that's first on the listing. We ought to make the assumption that that's the primary search term that Mel is going after. If that is the case, nobody is looking for that. Nobody looks for it. And so if she ranked page 1, position 1 for that search term, let's have a look. Natural cleaning brushes, it still would not give her many sales because according to Merchant Words, nobody's actually looking for that. So whilst you may feel, Mel, that that's what your product is, a teeny tiny little bit of research tells us that nobody searches for that, and so nobody's going to find you, which kind of brings us back to the traffic issue. Okay? So just with that little piece of thing there, and thanks so much, Hayden, for your help with that, it's pretty obvious that is the problem. You've gone after the wrong search term. And Hayden, what was the other search term you came up with what's a better option for her?
I tried natural dish brushes.
Yeah.
And I also tried eco-friendly dish brushes.
And what was better?
The eco-friendly, I think, was 900, and natural dish brushes was only 600.
All right. So, I mean, even with what Hayden's done for you, and thanks so much for that, mate, it's still, it's still not many searches. It's still not many searches. You really want to be at 5,000 and above. So, yeah, that's the thing that needs to change, Mel. Your listing is nice. There's nothing fundamentally wrong with it. Or, should I say, it's certainly good enough that you would make sales, okay? Given that you're getting qualified prospects to your listing who are interested in buying that product. I don't know about price, but given that that is a situation, there's really no good reason why they wouldn't buy when they got here. There's nothing stands out, nothing glaring. And so, as Hayden said, the problem is what you've gone after as a search term to rank for. There's just no search volume for it, and so you're getting if you got people to your, if you got page 1, position 1, which you haven't, but if you did, then there isn't enough people there to even make the business viable. So that is definitely where you start with this particular product. So quick recap, because there's quite a lot covered there. The first thing you look at is the listing. What's the listing like? Can you see anything that is glaringly obvious to you? Second thing you look at is something called unit session percentage. So if you have been getting some sales, what is the on-page conversion ratio? If it's between 10 and 20%, that's okay, that's good enough. If it's less than that, then you need to take another look at your listing. There's something fundamentally that's stopping people buying. Given that those two things are okay, then it's a question of traffic. You're just not getting enough people to your listing. So, two ways you can do that. First one is SEO, so internally, SEO by ranking for a good keyword. Second is internally again, paid advertising through Amazon PPC. Once you've exhausted those, you move on to outside traffic, doing things like Facebook ads and YouTube and Google and Bing and things like that. That's how you build and scale these businesses. That's a great insight into that. And Mel, thank you so much for letting us use your product for that little demo. That's really, really handy. I know heaps and heaps of people who would found that really, really useful. So thank you for that. That was a video from my regular Monday night Q&A session with the members of the Aussie Online Entrepreneurs. We are the fastest growing e-commerce community here in Australia. We've got over 2,600 members and growing, and we've got sales of over $50 million on Amazon. If you'd like to find out more about what we do, then go to www.aussieonlineentrepreneurs.com.au, and I will see you on the inside. Bye for now.